Hi Stitchy friends, it's Melanie from Melly Ellie Stitches. I am so sorry I've been absent for so long. Life got in the way. It has been an extremely busy year in my household. I'm going to give you guys like a 10-minute brief update. You know, I like to chat with you guys like we're friends and hear what's going on in your life, and you can hear what's going on in my life. So if you're not interested in hearing that, you can fast forward. So where to begin? Whew. Last we chatted was in January, and I had done my beginning of the year WIP Parade. Today is also going to be WIP Parade because I have worked on so many things, and rather than go through and try to figure out what I've shown you and what I've not, plus I just love to look at my WIPs, you know, throughout the year. So I'm going to do a fall WIP Parade today. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. In January, we were supposed to head, me and Matt were supposed to head to our European vacation. So we were going to go fly up to Tromsø, Norway in the Arctic Circle and see the Aurora. And then from there, fly to Paris. Well, the day before our flight, our hot water heater went. One of the dogs got ill, and Matt threw out his back and literally couldn't barely get out of bed. So we said, okay, we're just going to postpone this, you know, no big deal. So we're sitting there the next day in the evening having dinner, and here comes the snow. And lo and behold, Metro Detroit Airport, which doesn't happen very often, was completely shut down because of the snowstorm. So if we had gotten on the plane, we would have had to come back off. And then because we're going to such a remote place up in the Arctic Circle in Norway, there's not many flights, so we would have missed our connector, and we wouldn't have been able to get up to Tromsø. So everything works out for a reason. But I am coming to you on the eve of my vacation. We are leaving tomorrow, and we are headed out from Metro Detroit. We're going to fly to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam to Oslo, Norway, and then from Oslo up to Tromsø. And we're staying in a little cabin by the sea, which doesn't that sound incredibly expensive and extravagant? It's less than the cost per night of the Holiday Inn here in Royal Oak. If we even have a Holiday Inn, I don't even think we do. But so it's really an affordable Airbnb. And then we're just staying in a little studio in Paris. So we're really looking forward to some downtime. This year, work has been really intense for both of us. I got called back to the office 2 days a week in April. So that was a huge adjustment, you know, getting back into the routine of things and the new norm. Matt, unfortunately, one of his good friends passed away. And it was an unexpected passing. And this particular friend and this friend's brother are owners of a company locally. And this friend did all of the programming, the controls engineering and the program. They make, you know, different kinds of equipment. And so with his passing, they were in really big trouble at this company about being able to get this machine out. They had invested a lot of money in this machine because it's like a new technology. And so they were considering closing their doors. So Matt worked his tail off, and they just, and I mean just, like last week, got this machine delivered. So he stepped in, he worked, you know, pro bono for like a month, and then really started helping him out. So it was very stressful and emotional for Matt this year. We've had just the mix of things, you know, good and bad. Like I jotted some of it down. We've had Easter and got to spend Easter together and do our Easter egg hunt, and we've had family vacation. We went to Petoskey, we went to Ludington in the summer as a family, and we had a ton of fun. But there were also things like, oh, the first day I went back to the office, the very first day, I'm not kidding you, I got COVID. So I went up like 2 years in quarantine. And then I went the very first day back to the office, I got COVID. So that was fine, got through that. We went in July to Grand Haven, Michigan, which is a beautiful beach town. And we celebrated, me and my mom and my sisters. We all went there, and my little niece, Abby. And we celebrated Melissa's 40th birthday. It was a year late. She's actually 41 now, but our trip was postponed because she had COVID the previous year. So we got to do that, and it was just some really good downtime. So this year has just been a mix of, as I'm sure all of you experience, right? We all experience life. I have a big family, and it's just the highs and the lows and the highs and the lows, and you just gotta ride with it, flow with it. So that's what we're doing. We're flowing with it. And me and Matt are super excited to we're gonna be gone for 2 weeks. I can't even remember the last time I had a 2-week vacation. I think it must have been summer vacation when I was a kid. But we're really, really excited. So we're packing, and yeah. I don't know if I told you guys that the reason we're going to Norway this year, and I might have mentioned it in January, but every 11 years, the sun switches its polarity. So north-south switches, north-south. It reverses its polarity. And that causes an extra amount of solar activity. And that solar activity is the stuff that comes off the sun. They call it solar wind. And it gets pulled into our gravitational field at the poles of the Earth. And all of that coming into the Earth then interacts with molecules in the atmosphere, the nitrogen, the oxygen, and gives off the aurora. That's what the aurora is. So because of the increase in solar activity, we're really hopeful. People were actually seeing the northern lights in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula, even in Grand Haven. So we're excited. We decided to go all the way to Norway. So next month I will be back with a Flosstube, and I'll share all the pictures and tell you about our adventures. But yeah, all is well. It's just, life is overwhelming. Life has been overwhelming this year. So let's talk about some stitchy stuff after all of that. I don't want this to be like a 2-hour video. Finishes. So I did some fully finished items back around Valentine's Day, and I shared them on Instagram. And for those of you that commented on them, thank you. Fully finishing objects is not my wheelhouse. It's just when I have that 30 minutes or 60 minutes to sit and do something, I want to stitch. But then when I finish the stuff and I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so worth it. So this is one that I completed Valentine's Day. And I love this piece. If you want more information on it, let me know. I have all the information written down in my book, but I added like this beautiful fabric on the back. And I actually pinned this lace, like I had it, turned inside out for a pillow, and pinned the lace and then sewed. So it gave it like this kind of like a ruching effect. And then I put a little pin with some charms. So I had this sitting out in my Valentine's display, and I really enjoyed it. And again, it was such a reminder, like, just finish the stuff. And then this one was my little Valentine angel. I loved how this turned out. I just layered couple different ribbons, and I put a little flower charm. And then again, I'm into the pins. A pin with the little heart charm and matching fabric on the back. So those were fun. Those were a lot of fun. Speaking of FFOs, Betsy, I want to say thank you to Betsy Klager. She sent me this year. Right. Bunny and a carrot. Everything I've ever dreamed. It's so sweet. So thank you, Betsy. Thank you for making that for me and sending it to me. I know how much work goes into that, for sure. So let's talk about some just finishes. I started the year with gusto. I had a planner, and I was going to do this many per week, and I was going to do, all the things. I was going to do all the things. And then life happened, and I just did what I felt like doing, because, sometimes you just got to let your plans go and just roll with it, and that's what I did. But the first thing I finished, I was really excited about this one. This is Will You Be My Valentine by Thistles. Such an adorable Valentine piece. I absolutely love the colors. It's like the soft blue in the wagon, and then the pinks and the pops of red. Such a cute chart. So I finished this one, and this is stitched on 32 count Ren by Picture This Plus. And there's my finish. Isn't that so sweet? Oh, You know, I find myself realizing, by the sheer number of WIPs, you're gonna see this. I find myself realizing that I see these patterns, I'm like, I will be done with that in no time. That'll take me like 2 weeks. And months later, I realize how much goes into even the smallest pattern. They take time. So the only thing I changed on this, I wanted my sheep to pop out a little bit more, so I did a little bit of back stitching around the sheep. Other than that, everything was called for. And I love this so much, so I'm hoping to have this up in my Valentine display this year. So that was a finish. Then I saw Nikki Noodles. Hi, Nikki. I saw her stitch this freebie pattern, and it's from Whilst Iris Naps. It's on her website. I think it's called Carrots, and it's a freebie. Let me pull out a little folder here. Pull out my Snoopy folder so I can hold it up against it. 32 count white, and there it is. Isn't that so sweet? The different colors in the carrots, and then I just love how the little stems with the satin stitch, I just think it turned out so pretty. So pretty. I'm gonna grab a whiteboard because I don't want to have the red folder up there. Got a whiteboard in here. Okay, we'll use this one. So yeah, that was a fun one. You should, for spring, like perfect for your Easter display. There's a couple freebies, and one of them's like 3 bunnies too, just absolutely adorable. So I highly recommend those. And lastly, I wanted to share my friend Cindy, hi Cindy, from Cindy's Cross Stitch, generously gifted me some items that she had stitched and used from Friend Stitch. And I missed out on Friend Stitch this year, but I definitely want to join next year. It's an online retreat. I think they did 2 of them this year. And you get a box in the mail with all these goodies, and Cindy was kind enough to pass a lot of it along to me. Thank you, Cindy. But when I opened up the box and I saw this one, I was just like, I have to stitch this. This pattern is created by Heart and Hand and Bent Creek, a collaboration for Friend Stitch, and it's just a little Noel ornament, friendship wreath. I love that. I love the saying Noel. It's so peaceful, reminiscent of Christmas. So I stitched mine on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I didn't have the specific threads that they used, so I think I used Louisiana Hot Sauce and Juniper, I think, by Weeks Dye Works. And here's mine. Isn't that so sweet? So I really want to get that done so I can add that to my cross stitch Christmas tree this year. It was a fun stitch. I like the little stars. I don't know if you can see the little back stitch stars. They took just a wee bit of patience, but they were worth it. They turned out so good. So those are finishes. The rest that I have for you, I've pulled out my book, my project book. The rest that I'm going to go through is all of my WIPs. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 37 of them. 37 WIPs. And I have to say, having a lot of WIPs has never bothered me. And it still doesn't bother me, but I have just had this itch lately that I want to get some of them done. I want to see them. I want to see them on the wall. I want to turn them into, pillows or whatever. So I've been trying not to start all the things, because I usually love to start all the things. I've been trying not to, and just to really work on the WIPs. So these are in no particular order. I have them all laying over here. I took them out. I ironed them. And then I've got the patterns to show you here. But I hope I inspire you. I hope you see some patterns that you think are adorable and you can't live without, and you start them. Because then I can see them in your WIP Parade or on Instagram. Okay, so let's get started. Ooh, I moved my iPad. Hopefully I didn't make you seasick there. Okay, so the first one is Verano, and I think that means summer, by Satsuma Street. And this one, I saw this and I just had to stitch it because of the colors. The colors are just so vibrant and beautiful, and this border in between here, this is DMC. And this border in between here is like a variegated floss. It's a variegated DMC floss, which is a little bit of a challenge only because I want it to, you know, go from like dark, like the ombre look, right? Like from dark to light and then light to dark. Like I wanted to keep that pattern. So you have to be cognizant of the end of your thread. When you end a thread, what you're starting with, where you're starting, you have to think about it a little. I mean, it's not like rocket science, but you have to think about it a little if you want it to come out with that kind of, you know, pattern going from like light to dark, dark to light. So of course I had to start with that bird with the giant eyes. Oh my God. So Verona is on 32 count white linen. I started it on January 22nd, 23. So January of this year. And here's what I've gotten. Isn't that bird so sweet? Anything with giant eyes, I don't know. It's cute. Anything with giant googly eyes, I'm here for it. So I saw that, I had to stitch it. And then I went up to the sun and stitched that. And then you can see what I mean about just being aware, like light to dark and then dark to light, just so that it kind of flows. There's other ones, there's spring, summer, and fall. I don't know that I'm gonna do them. I'm obsessed with this one, this summer one. I just think it's so beautiful. And I do like the others, not as much, but there's just so many things on my stitchy want to stitch list. I started an Excel spreadsheet, and I think I've mentioned this before, the must stitch list, because the rate I'm collecting patterns and wanting to stitch things, I have to start like focus, prioritize, stop seeing squirrels, put on blinders and try to hone in on like what is the things I like have to stitch versus it's so cute I want to stitch it. So I'm trying to work on it. We'll see how that goes. Okay, number 2. This is a dimensions kit, and I saw a Flosstuber stitch this. I think it's Stitchuation Normal, maybe. And she stitched this, and she had it in the most beautiful white frame, and I loved it. It's called The Journey, but the saying is it's all about the journey. And I just loved that bike with the flowers. I thought, what a cute stitch. And the way she had it framed, I mean, it was just stunning. Just stunning. So I'm stitching this one on 18 count white Aida. I didn't use the kit fabric. I think the kit was like a 14 or a 16, so I went with an 18. And I started this in January of 23. And that's where I'm at so far. And I actually just found another, buying all the things, I just found another bike very, very similar to this one. It's by Dimensions, like the same size bike, same size piece, like the 5x7, and it's like, wherever you go with all your heart or something, and so I want to have those two as like companion pieces. So I'm excited to finish that one. Okay, next. Love Lives Here by Country Cottage Needleworks. And you know, it's so funny when I look at these because I can remember, I mean, on most of them, the moment I saw them on Flosstube and who enabled me and like, oh my gosh, I gotta go have that and run to 1, 2, 3 stitch. I was enabled by Amanda, the Alba Stitcher. If you haven't checked out her channel, you are really missing out, so go check her out. But she was stitching this, and so I ran off and grabbed it, had to have it. Love the little heart trees with the birds. I feel like I'm a really big sucker for Valentine patterns. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's the pinks and the reds or just all the little hearts and gotta have it, gotta have it. Okay, so I stitched this on 36 count Mayflower, and I started it in February of 2023. Please excuse my string. And this is where I'm at. So I got into the house a little bit. The hearts in the border are so sweet. The pinks and the reds, with the little pop of green and the vines. Such an enjoyable stitch. Such an enjoyable stitch. And that striped house, oh my God, I love it so much. See, this is why it's good when I do WIP parades, because I get to touch them all and drool over them all. Remember why I said I wanted to stitch them, and then it like reinvigorates my passion for finishing my WIPs. So if you have a lot of WIPs, just go touch them, just rub them. Thank you. Want to work on them. That's my big advice. Okay, next is July Cottage of the Month. And I apologize, I don't have the little pattern sitting here. I must have forgotten that one in the book. But I'll insert a picture of it here. It's a series, so there's a cottage for every month. I'll insert a picture here. Okay, and mine is on 32 count vintage country mocha. I started this one in July. I know I'm crazy for doing this, but I actually started this one over. I had already completely stitched this one. And I had already completely stitched, I think, 2 more of them. And then I just got it in my head that I wanted them to be on 32 count and I wanted them to all be on the same fabric. So I'm restitching them, and you know, I don't mind because they're just so cute. They're so adorable. But this is probably my favorite one in the series. And the reason why, let me show it to you. Isn't that so sweet? The reason why is the blues. I think the house is Betty Bluebell or Blue Beatrice. It's one of the two. I always get them mixed up. The blues with that red and white. Oh my gosh, I love this one so much. So I'm excited. I want them all to be, you know, the same size and the same kind of fabric with the same background. So I'm thinking like maybe when I'm 89, no, I'm just kidding. I'll have them all done, probably. Okay, this next one, oh my gosh. Who enabled me with this? I just said, oh, I know who. It was Teresa. Strictly Stitchy Teresa. Hi, Teresa. She showed this one and I ran off, had to have it. This is by the Artsy Housewife on Etsy, A Study in Pink. Isn't that stunning? I mean, I could just stare at this photo. It's so stunning. And she just released another one. It's another butterfly. Which is exciting because I think she's going to have, you know, several of these. Oh my gosh, the colors in that. I love that one so much. So I am stitching mine on 36 count latte by Fiber on a Whim. I started it in May. And I got a chunk of wing done here because, I mean, once I started, I did not want to put it down. It's just such a beautiful pattern. And this is my new Peter Rabbit needle minder from my friend Amanda. Thank you so much, Amanda. And there it is. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's like a painting. It's just, and the color she picked, you know, for the green and the pink. Oh, it's super addicting. I can't wait to have this one done. That makes me want to stitch it tonight. Nope, I have other plans tonight. But I'm really, really enjoying that one. Next, My Home in the Garden. And this is actually a stitch along. Betsy Klager has already finished it. Betsy, you're a rock star. Me and Nikki Noodle. I'm guessing Nikki's pulling second and I'm coming in on third. But this is such a beautiful pattern. This is by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I just love this garden. I love that big chunky beehive and all the really pretty flowers with the light colors and the dark blending in. It's just such a beautiful pattern. I love it so much. So I started this in June of 2022. It is on, let's see, 32 count white. And I did work on this for a big chunk of time this year, trying to get my act together. And we all have a matching needle minder, which I hope you find funny. This is where I'm at. And I should say I'm using what I'm going to call the Nikki Noodle conversion. So I believe it calls for all silks. Gloriana. And so Nikki did her own conversion using cotton floss, variegated cotton floss. And I think I've pretty much stuck to everything Nikki had, with the exception, I think, of 1 or 2 that I changed. And this is where I'm at. Isn't that so beautiful? I'm really looking forward to having that one done. And don't be afraid of this border. I know this border looks crazy, but it's really not. It's rhythmic. You know what I mean? It's one of those borders where it repeats. It's just a nonstop repeat, so you can floss up your needle and just go and go and go and go. Don't even need to look at the pattern, which is nice, you know, like for TV stitching. So that's that one. Okay, next, Happy Heart Sampler. Oh, do I have a story about this one? Cindy Stitches on Instagram. Hi, Cindy. She posted this sampler, and I had never seen it before. She posted this sampler. She's been posting a lot of samplers, and I immediately freaked out, fell in love with it, had to find it. So here I am, scouring the internet, you know, hop on eBay, hop on all the things. And it just so happened that 1884 Stitchery was putting out reprints of this. So this is a PDF copy. At the same time I was looking for it. It was serendipitous, I'm telling you, because I saw it and I rushed over and bought it, because I mean, trying to find some of these older patterns is tough. And I lucked out. So I got started on it right away. Isn't that adorable? With the 2 birds at the top and the great big flower, and oh gosh, I love that one so much. So I decided to stitch mine on 32 count winter white, and I started it in January of 2023. And I got a pretty good start on it, but then I saw a squirrel. So this is a big sampler. This is gonna take me a while, and that's okay because I love it so much. And here is where I'm at. Isn't that so pretty? Look at that bird. I love it so much with the little hands. Oh, I think this one's so pretty. So yeah, that just like worked out. So if you're looking for birds of a feather patterns, I would go check out McKenna's shop. It was really reasonably priced, and I got it, you know, PDF download. So that was super exciting. Okay, next, Kiss for Snowman. This one is for my mom. My mom loves snowmen, and that reminds me of her. Pictures of her when she's a little girl. So this one I've restarted. You're getting a theme here. I'm never gonna finish my whips if I keep restarting them all, but that's okay. I restarted it, and I restarted it on 18 count Aida. I was just not loving the kit fabric, and I found the stitches and everything to lay much nicer on this for me. So here's where I'm at. And you know, it's always, for me, it's always a love-hate with dimensions. You know, you get into the blends and there's 3 of this and a half stitch of 4 of this, and you do have to pay attention. I mean, you really do have to pay attention to what you're doing, but the effect is so beautiful. I mean, like the shading in the trees, it really is a beautiful effect. So I do enjoy stitching on it. It's just, I enjoy stitching on everything. Okay, next is Elizabeth Adelsey. This was another stitch along with Betsy. She called it her Stupid Tumor Sale. And I hopped on board, and I got a really good start on this. This is the PDF picture. It's so sweet. I love these reproduction samplers. So I got a good start on it. But, so let's see, this is on 32 count light mocha. I started in September of 2021. So here's where I got. Let me show you where I got. So I just think those colors are so pretty with this fabric. I was really happy with my fabric choice. But I got down here and something was off. And I remember like counting, and I think I have to rip out the bird and maybe this. And I just put it in timeout. It hasn't come out yet. So I do want to finish this one. It's a beautiful pattern. It's beautiful colors. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got it on the list to finish. Oh, the other thing I did was I decided, with wanting to get all these whips done, I decided I was going to rank my whips. And by rank, I mean like number 1, really, really, really want to finish. Number 4, want to finish it, but it's not calling to me. So that was kind of, you know, the scale. And it's good because now I have these WIPs on an Excel spreadsheet, and so I'm going to just go and do all the number 1s, and then the number 2s, and then the number 3s, and then the number 4s. And I think that'll help me make some progress, because there are some that are just screaming to me, but even sometimes I forget about them. I'm watching too many Flosstubes, and I'm buying other patterns, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do love that one. So yeah, hopefully it'll keep me a little focused. Okay, next is by the Prairie Schooler, and this is called Harvest Time. I'm doing this top picture. It's the farm scene there. And I saw Brenda from Handworked Maniac stitch this. She turned it into like a long rectangular pillow. I thought it was beautiful. I'm stitching mine on 32 count antique white. And I've gotten pretty far on this one. I've got a farmer driving a wagon with no head. But other than that, it's looking pretty together here. So, you know, Prairie Schooler. I love that it's easy stitching. It's just DMC, but gosh, when you say just DMC, look how beautiful the colors are. Yeah, and I love the fall scene. So I do want to finish this, but this is an example of one that's a number 4. For whatever reason, it's just like it doesn't call to me, but like for sure I want to finish it. So she's in the number 4 right now. Okay, next, Christmas rules. So I have Halloween rules in my pile to show you too. Christmas rules, I don't even know if you can call this a start. All I've got is the top that says Christmas rules. And I've considered at times, like maybe this one's, it's not calling to me, maybe I don't want to do it. But then I go and I look and I start looking at keep the schedule light with the sheep and the cookies. And I'm like, I really do want to do it. So it's on the list. I think it might be a number 3. I am stitching mine on the same fabric that I am stitching Halloween rules on. This is a 32 count clay joblin. And here's where I'm at. How cute is that needle minder? So yeah, I really do want to do it. It's on the list. It's on the must-stitch list for WIPs, so I will get to it eventually. But this is why I have to stop starting so many things. Oh my gosh, I have to stop starting so many things. Next is Oh Joyous Day. I've seen so many people inspire me with this one. I mean, I've seen so many people stitch it. It's beautiful. I love that it's based on an actual sampler that Blackbird Designs found. And they interpreted it into their own version. Added that gigantic bird and that red pear house. I love red pear. Probably one of my very favorite colors. And the flowers at the top. So every time I see someone bring this up, I'm just like, I've got to stitch it. So I went ahead and started it. I'm stitching this on 32 count Fog by Picture This Plus. And I started it in April of 2022. Sadly, I don't think I've worked on this one this year. It is, like I said, I bit off more than I can chew. It is a big piece. But a little at a time and I'll get there. I just love this design. It's so beautiful. So pretty. So that was number 12. Number 13, This Is the Day. Love this one. Cindy finished this one from Cindy Stitches. This is by Plum Street Samplers. That's one of my very favorite sayings. And I just couldn't get over the goat flying in the air and the great big flower pot and the pinks. I guess my favorite color has to be pink because I'm so drawn to the pink patterns. So I'm stitching mine on 32 count American Chestnut. And for whatever reason, my American Chestnut smells like, oh, it just smells so good. Almost like, not coffee. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it has a wonderful smell. And then this is where I got to. I love it. I love the goat. I love the pink. Again, not for lack of wanting to stitch on it, just something else caught my eye and took my focus, and there I went. This is the day. Next is Stitching and Quilt. Now this is a, let me take it out of the bag because this one's kind of tougher to see. This is a stitch along with my friend Amanda from Alba Stitcher. She is stitching the Halloween one, Halloween and Quilt. Mine is Stitching and Quilt, hers is Halloween and Quilt. And they're just these beautifully themed pieces. I love this one. I think it's going to look so adorable to keep in my sewing craft room. I just love the pinks. I love the colors. It's so sweet. So I'm stitching mine again on 32 count American Chestnut. And I did make some progress on this. So this is where I'm at. That little girl sitting on that pin cushion, it can't be any cuter. Oh, I love it so much. So I was thinking about it the other day. I think I'm going to hop down here. I really want to do that house. That like little strawberry shortcake looking house. I really want to do that. So I think I'm going to pop down there next. Beautiful piece. Love, love, love. Highly recommend. There's tons of them. There's like Christmas in Quilt, Spring in Quilt, Summer in Quilt, and I've got several of them. But they are bigger than I thought they were going to be. Number 15, For the Love of Nature. This with the deer and the squirrel and the nose bump. Had to have it. Big red house. All the little critters. I am here for it. This is by Teresa Kogut. This is another one that I restarted. Initially, the fabric that I had it on was a lighter fabric, and I just didn't like the texture of the fabric. I can't even remember what it was. So I restarted it on 32 Count Spice by Number 12 Stitch Co. On Etsy. And here's where I got to. And I just love it so much. I love the colors. Really an enjoyable stitch. I just see a lot of squirrels. Trying to get better. These are 2024 goals, to be more focused on the WIPs, and yeah, that's what we're going to try and do. Okay, number 16, I saw Nikki Noodle stitch this. This is the Agnes Platts Strawberry Sampler. There's several pieces in this book, beautiful pieces in this book. But the one in particular that I'm stitching is the Bee Scat, that house. I love the colors. I love the sweet little saying. Such a fun stitch. Highly recommend this one. And you get several other pieces in the book with it. This is on 32 Count Wren. And I even tried to coordinate my little needle minder with the bee. So this is where I am. This one very much gives me a summer vibe. I am a seasonal stitcher for sure. Right now, I want to stitch all the pumpkins. And like, I don't know why. It's like I have to be in the season to stitch that season. It's very strange. Hopefully there's more of you like that out there. But yeah, I just love stitching on this in the summer. And the bricks are fun. It actually, you're like building a house, you know, brick by brick, because they're like different color. So it's fun. It's a very fun stitch. Highly recommend. Okay, Flea Market Flowers. This is another one I love so much. I love the colors in this. I'm sure you've all seen it. This is by Lori Holt. Those colors just make me so... I feel like every time I look at this, it can just bring me out of a bad mood. Those colors are so vibrant and so beautiful. And you get the great big flowers and then, you know, the little ones. So it's kind of like mixes it up. And there's like different squares. So you get that sense of accomplishment, right, when you finish a square. I'm doing mine on, where am I at? 32 Count Antique White. And I did make progress on this one this year. And here's where I am. So much fun. So much fun to stitch. I think since you've last seen it, I finished this motif and started in here. Just beautiful. Love this one so much. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to that one. Love the colorful pieces. This one, you guys, I'm so close. This is a number 1 on the WIP category list because I'm so close. This is Pink Sparrow Sampler. A reproduction Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Absolutely beautiful, and there's so much information in this booklet. It really is a joy, like, to read the booklet and go through it. They honestly don't have any idea who the girl was that stitched this. They've got like an era in time. They think maybe around the 1840s. But I just love thinking that this hung in someone's house, and some person put their heart and soul into that and came up with that beautiful design. So creative. And that I can have the same thing in my house as a tribute. So, okay, so mine is being stitched on 32 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and I am so close. So I have the whole top done. Look at that bird, isn't that so sweet? And those colors are so soft. It really is a joy. I mean, the color changes every time you pull out a skein. It's like, oh my gosh, this color's so pretty. So I'm down into the lower half here, and I just have to finish this section. I'm hoping, you guys cross your fingers with me, there was a very big linen slub right here, and I picked at it a little to try and pull it out. And it's not a hole in the fabric, but it just kind of left behind a little bit lighter linen. So I'm hoping that one of these motifs is gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be a close call. It's gonna be a close call if one of these motifs is gonna hit it, but I'm hoping it hides it just a wee bit. But I love this one so much. So beautiful. The colors are so pretty. Fascinating to me that someone just came up with that. Just so beautiful. Okay, next, Autumn Acres. So I got on a Cherry Hill Stitchery kick. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I happened upon them. I think I happened upon them on Etsy. And it was just one after another that came up, and I, got like 8 patterns. I'm not kidding. They're so cute. So this is called Autumn Acres, PDF download. Love that blackbird sitting on that big pumpkin. This gives me all the fall vibes. Fall is my favorite season. So I was excited to do this one. I'm stitching this one on 32 count Picture This Plus Fog. And that's where I've gotten to. So adorable. I love that one so much. Gotta get back to it. And it is fall season. I am going to be starting something new. In honor of my trip. I wanted to take a new start with me that would keep me busy. I didn't want to take more than one project because we're traveling so much. So I'm going to be starting Hello Dear by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I can't resist it anymore. The colors in that are so vibrant, so beautiful. It has all the fall. I need to start it. So I'm going to start it for the trip. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, next is Penny Pumpkin. I love this one so much. Penny's daughter shares, Michelle. She inspired me to start this one. And I'm being a little bit of a baby about it. So I am stitching this on 32 count Ren by Picture This Plus. And I'm not joking when I say I don't like stitching over one. I really don't like it. I feel like, I don't know, I must have too much tension or something, but like when I'm stitching over one and then I go to pull the thread, I feel like it distorts the fabric a little, and it's probably just me being overly obsessive that I want it to look a certain way. So this is where I'm at. And the only thing that stopped me in my tracks on this was an over 1 star that's right here that I put in and took out probably 18 times. No, it's an exaggeration, probably 3 or 4 times. So I need to get back to this with just a little bit more patience and give the over 1 a try. Not a fan of over 1, but isn't that pumpkin so pretty? I love the white pumpkin look. I think that's so much fun. So gotta get back to that. I think it's a number 2 on my WIP list because I'm close. Okay, Halloween rules. Oh, you guys, I've got to finish this. I've got to finish this one. So my sister Melissa, who's Snow Day Stitcher on Instagram, she is my stitching buddy. Like she loves cross stitch as much as I do. And she finished hers And she has it on this, it's in some of my previous floss tubes, you'll see. She has it on this like white picket fence, like this old rustic piece of white picket fence, and it's so beautiful. And I look at it all the time when she has it out. This is Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate, for those of you who haven't seen it. So there's a story with this one. It is on 28 count clay Joplin, like Christmas Rules. I was trucking along on this, and I thought I had everything good to go. It turns out, well, let me show you it first. So this is a big one. Isn't that so pretty? I like that so much. It's so pretty. So I was trucking along, and I got down there, stood a spell, and I started with the witch's hat and got into that block, and I'm like, you know, I think I'm just gonna put the black border on, and I think I was watching a movie or something, and I just wanted to do like a mindless, not staring at my pattern. It's a good thing I did. What I realized, if you look up here at the top, is that my top part is misaligned with the boxes. The good thing is the rectangles are intact. The rectangles are aligned, but whenever I did my counting from this top part to the start below, I'm off. So you can see I've started to pick away at that first gravestone. I've got to frog that out, redo the top, and just finish it off. I have to do it. I think this is a number 1 on the WIP list thing, because I'm just so close, and I adore it. Like, I adore the colors, but you guys know, you put so much time and effort, it's painful. With the seam ripper, it's painful to rip out the stitches. So I do need to do it. I will finish it. I will. But yeah, it'll probably take me a little while. Next, I'm going to insert a picture of this one because it's such a long, big piece. This is Christmas Advent by Crochet A Go-Go. That's how I say it. I think that's how you say it. Here's a picture. So I am going to stitch along with my sister Melissa on this. We both had a sister stitchy weekend, and we were like on the couch, and this one came up, and we were like, oh my God, and we ran, and we had to have it. It's an Advent, and like you saw it, and it's so beautiful. And again, it's like the, you know, you can finish one motif at a time. Melissa is significantly farther than me. She is the monogamous stitcher between the two of us. But here's where I got to. So I did make some progress. I finished that stocking. I got the gingerbread house done. And still have a ways to go. But once I get in the Christmas mood, I'm going to start working on this again. Such a fun piece. So beautiful. Such soft colors. I really enjoy it so much. I think that'll be beautiful to have on at Christmas time. Okay, where are we? Number 23, United We Stand. This is by Teresa Kogan. I did a PDF download off Etsy. I love this one so much. I love the patriotic spirit. I love the sweet little girls. Now, I changed mine a bit. And if you want to know, let me know and I'll tell you. But I changed mine a bit. I wanted the girl to be a brunette like me. And her pattern is charted in DMC, which is beautiful. But I wanted to fancy it up a little bit. So I went and I did some color conversions and came up with some different colors for their dresses and the hair. What I didn't realize is these two girls are the tallest girls on the planet. I mean, it doesn't look, I mean, I guess it does now when I look at it. But when I first printed it, I'm like, oh, this is so fast. I'll have this done in like a weekend. These are the two tallest girls on the planet because these dresses are like 1 billion stitches each. Here's where I am, and you can see what I mean. Like, I was trucking along, got the top done. Like I said, I converted her hair. But, I mean, the good news is this is the bottom of the dress. But holy wow, I have so much. I really should take this one to the airport with me because it's just fill in. So I have a lot to do on this, but it's easy. You know, it's like I said, you're not looking at the pattern. It's just easy fill in. I wish they were a little shorter. my gosh, so I gotta get back to that one. Okay, the next one, Good Company. I love this. So the saying on this is, she lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore. I love it. So beautiful. I love all the dogs running in the meadow. And she's just hanging out outside her house. Oh, it's all in silks, and I did splurge for the silks on this. So yeah, you know what's slowing me down on this is the over one. I'm being such a baby about it. I hit the over one in the words on this, and it stalled me out. So I need to just power through and get back to it. Okay, so Good Company, I'm stitching this on 32 count buttercream by Lakeside Linens. Turn it this way. And here is where I got to. So I have good progress. The diamonds on the side are a little bit intense because they're like 3 or 4 layers of color. No problems in the pattern, but I got to this over one. Oh my gosh. And I just feel like, I don't know, I'm so picky about my over one. So I really just need to put my big girl pants on and get through this. But I do like this piece a lot. It is beautiful. Really pretty. Okay. Next, we're making progress. The Sarah Johnson sampler, and I've told you guys this story before, so apologize if you've already heard it. I love reproduction samplers. I don't have a ton of them in my WIPs, but I wanted to see if I could find an American reproduction sampler, and I found this one on eBay. It was released by American Cross Stitch Inc. And it says it was stitched by Sarah Johnson in 1814 in Pennsylvania. So there was a lot going on in this country around those times. And I thought it was really cool. So her original sampler, there's a little, let's do this so you can't see the pattern, but that's her original, which is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So this is charted all in DMC. So I fancied this one up just a little to give some different colors to it. And I am stitching this one on 32 count parchment. And here's where I am. Beautiful piece. Beautiful piece, and I just love the history behind these. I mean, if you just think for a second, 1814 in Pennsylvania, what life was like. Life was hard. Life was hard and things were going on and you were stitching by candlelight. So yeah, I really am looking forward to finishing that one. Okay, next, this was also a PDF download off Etsy by 2x2 Stitch Art. So I'll insert a picture here. I am stitching mine on 32 count white linen. I've restarted this one too. There is definitely a theme. I think every time I do a WIP Parade, so I restarted this one. I remember that I had gotten maybe 2/3 of the way through, and then I had to frog and I nipped the fabric. So I started over. All DMC, beautiful pattern. I love, love, love the colors on this. Big plans of how I want to finish this one. Just need to get back to it. So that's Wander. B is for Bunny. This one puts me in the spring mood, la-di-da. I think it was also Penny's daughter Cher's, Michelle, who inspired me on this one. I just love this funky bunny. The different colors and these great big flowers. I think this pattern is so sweet. I am stitching mine on 32 count vintage smoky white. And these flowers are no joke. They are stitch heavy. And here's where I'm at. I think that's going to be such a fun Easter display piece in a little frame. I think that's going to be so sweet. I love the bunnies. Okay, next is ABC samplers. I saw, what did I see? I think I saw on Vanna Pfeiffer's Facebook, she had finished this. Maybe that's where I saw it. This is by Little House Needleworks, and I've only got a picture of one. but you get the idea, right? So A, B, C, and it's a house. And then there's all the different houses with the letters, and they're like seasonal houses, and I love stitching houses. So I was really drawn to this one. I am stitching mine on 36 count vintage country mocha. And this is an itty bitty tiny little house. And I love it with an itty bitty tiny little blackbird in the tree. So sweet. I love it so much. So I'm just going to put a simple border around it. I like it. I love stitching these itty bitty little houses. They're so sweet. But that one's got a long way to go. Okay, drum roll. I have been working on a WIP that is on my #1 category. It's one of my older WIPs. I remember seeing this and immediately jumping on Etsy and found it. It's an older pattern by Blackbird Designs called Midnight Watch. Isn't that stunning? Once again, completely underestimated the size of this thing. Completely underestimated. But I had a black cat named Trax. I called him Kitty Snugs. Me and my sister called him Kitty Snugs. He was just a snuggly little boy, and so this reminds me of him up here. I love everything about this pattern, and even that border, which is a lot of work. It's just so stunning. So I have been working and working and working, and you guys, I am so close. I thought about taking this on my trip, but it does require lots of concentration because I've messed up this border a couple times. So I think I'm going to save it for when I get home, but I already dated it, 2023. So it's happening this year. I'm finishing it. Let me show you where I'm at. This is stitched on 28 count 18th century brown. Look at that. Oh my God. See, I've got 2023 ML. It's happening. I am so excited. This plant was a lot of work. This border was a ton of work. I still have that gigantic moon up there, but I just have to do this leaf. There's 2 stars, finish the border, and fill in the moon. I got this. Isn't that gorgeous? Like I said, completely underestimated the size of this thing, but I am so glad I got it. It's beautiful. I'm pretty proud of that one. I have been just working and working and working every night on that one, and it has made a lot of progress. So that's going to be a big finish for me this year. Okay, next is Ellen Barber. Amanda, you are responsible for draining in my bank account. I saw her stitching this one too. Ellen Barber, 1895 by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. Those colors, it just got me with those colors. I love that this little girl decided to just rainbow the heck out of this thing. I love it so much. And these Hands Across the Sea samplers are so cool. They, have a little bit of history and information in there. I just love it. So I'm stitching mine on 36 count Mayflower by Fox and Rabbit. Started it the 19th of May this year. This is what I got. And it is all of my rainbow happiness. How sweet is that? Easy stitch. It's not a huge piece. I just saw a squirrel. Not a huge piece. Beautiful. Really can't wait to finish that one. I just think that's so sweet. Okay. Spring Awakens. Wait a minute, I'm out of order here. Oh, I think I missed one on my list. Okay, so let me tell you this one first. I did miss it on my list though. This was part of my Cherry Hill Stitchery binge. Sweet Summer. I love watermelon. I just thought the bright, bright pink with the black was just so stunning. Love this piece so much. And Oh, I don't even know what I stitched this now. I don't have my notes with me, so apologies for that. It looks to me, it's definitely like a 32 count, just a beige of some sort. Let me show you where I'm at. Isn't that so sweet? I love that watermelon. And it's not very big. So this is one I can have done for next summer and have a little pillow. Looking forward to that one. Okay, now I'm back in order here. Spring Awakens. This was a market release with Thy Needle and Thread. I'm a sucker for a bunny. I love the bunnies. The two of them with the robin in the wagon. I really want to see that in nature. If I could just see two bunnies pulling a robin in a wagon, I think, wow, I might lose my mind. So sweet. Love the colors in that. I am stitching mine on 32 count vintage country mocha. And here's where I got. Look at those pants. Oh God, I can't. The little robin and the pants. This is such a fun stitch with all the Eastery bright colors. But like I said, I'm a seasonal stitcher, so that is going to call to me like April. Such a pretty piece though. Okay, next is, I'm going to take a drink really quick. Okay, dry mouth. Next is a piece I got on Etsy. It's by StitcherUniverse.com. I would like it known that I am a Detroit Tigers fan. But when I was little and growing up, my parents were also Cubs fans. I think there's a lot of Cubs fans, right? Because they were on WGN, and I do like the Cubs. So he's a huge Cubs fan. So I'm stitching this for him. It's a 75 by 75, but when you buy this pattern, it gives you like 50 by 50, 100 by 100, so you can kind of, decide which size you want. And I am stitching mine on 32 count white, and I started it this year. Here's where I got to. So it's a lot of fun. This one's a simple one. It's very blocky. It's not a lot of color changes. And I think it's going to fit like perfectly in an 8x8 frame. So I think I'll like that. He keeps bothering me about it. He'll see me stitching on something. He's like, is that my Cubs? I'm like, no, but you'll get it. Okay, next is Honey Fair. So this is a start that I started in Grand Haven with Melissa for her 40th birthday weekend getaway that we did. I kitted it all up for her too. I sewed a couple of bumblebee bags, and so we both had this to commemorate that trip. Honey Fair. Love it. That beehive is gorgeous, but intense because of all of the pattern and color change. And the bee, this is by October House Fiber Arts. We are stitching ours on 36 count cream. Started in July of this year. Excuse my thread. I got us matching needle minders, the whole 9 yards. So there it is. I don't think I've stitched on it since that trip, but it's going to be a nice way to commemorate that. Such a beautiful pattern too. I'm a sucker for the beehives. Okay, In the Meadow by Bothy Thread. I wanted a Bothy Threads kit. I had seen several people use them, and so when I got online and looked and they had bunnies, my credit card practically typed itself in. So this is the one I'm doing, In the Meadow, but I changed, or The Meadow is the name. I changed my fabric from this speckled Aida. I wanted to do it on like a more natural look. So I am stitching mine on a 36 count raw linen. And it's so realistic looking. I haven't stitched on this one in so long. I love how soft it looks with the thistles and the little colors in the ear. So I think this would be a beautiful piece. But again, it requires your concentration, right? Kind of like a dimensions kit. There's a lot of symbols and color changes, and so it hasn't been calling to me lately, but I will finish it. We're almost there, guys. I have 3 more to show you. 3 more. Hang in there with me. Okay. Next is the token. And so this is by Long Dog Samplers. Let me show it to you first. And this is a very sweet sampler. It says a token of love, and then it's got initials. It says CAB to MSD. What I decided to do with this is make it a dedication to my nieces and my nephew. And so we had one more on the way, and she's born now, Abigail. So now all of them are here. I've got all of their initials. So now I can finish this one. Such a beautiful piece. So I am stitching mine on, and I got all of the color ideas from this from Cross Stitch MD Shiloh. I think I copied her exact DMC color. She did this on. Just beautiful. She just nailed it, so I went with it. It's 32 count ivory, DMC 814. And here's where I am. Such a beautiful piece. It really is. Love doing the motifs, and it is enjoyable stitching all in one color. Like, I love the colors in these samplers, in these pieces, but stitching all in one color is very enjoyable as well. So I gotta finish that up now that all the nieces and the nephew are here. Okay, two more. Betsy Klager, you're responsible for this one. Mary Clayton. Isn't that precious? Oh, I love it. Hands Across the Sea samplers. Beautiful piece. A really nice job in this book, talking about what things were like at that time, you know, what they think her life might have been like at that time. So I'm stitching this on 32 count Cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim. And here is where I've gotten to. Really sweet. I'm looking forward to finishing that one. Betsy's is so beautiful. So beautiful. And I do like these reproduction samplers with all the history. Okay, guys, last one. I'm going to use it as a fan. Modern Folk Embroideries. This was their 2021 stitch along, The Fruit of Plenty. PDF download off their website. You could do it in two different ways. One of them had a significant amount more stitching because you're filling in with the second color, which is the one I chose. I think most people have. I don't know that I've seen a lot the other way. Mine's on 32 count light sand with DMC 3031 and 3064. Here's where I'm at. I love these two colors together. I think it's stunning. So I'm down into some of that heavy pink stitching on the bottom of the side. Just beautiful. And I've mentioned this so many times, but if you're new here, I decided to make this a family sampler. And so in this first square is the initials of my grandparents, Fred and Lolly. At that time when I was stitching on the sampler, my grandmother was battling breast cancer. This one here, I've got D for Debbie, my mom. In February, she had a hip transplant. And then this one, my sister Megan and my niece Magnolia were in the hospital at that time. So I'm just kind of like stitching who's ever on my heart at that time and putting them right into the pattern. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for sticking with me for this. Woo! A lot of stitching to do, but it just reminds me how much I love all of my WIPs. Okay, let's do the happy card. I haven't done a happy card in so long, you guys. I don't even know what number we're on. 18. I am receptive is the card. I am receptive to new ideas. I am willing to try different methods, and I consider alternate viewpoints. I welcome intellectual stimulation. I am receptive. That's a good card. I like that card. And that is so true in life, to be open and willing to do things a different way. I know that in my life, sometimes I get so focused on, you know, I've got to do my cross stitch this way, or I've got to do this an exact way. And I've learned so much in life just by taking a step back and opening my ears and listening for different ways to do things. So yeah, I think I'll take that forward on my trip to Europe too. just to see how others live and what they're like and how they treat each other. I think it's always just good to reflect on those types of things. Just get outside your own head for a while. So thank you so much for sticking with me, guys. I will be back in November. I will have pictures from my trip, and hopefully I'll have quite a bit of stitching done on my new start. Until we meet again, I hope you guys are having an amazing fall, enjoying the leaves and the pumpkins and just all the fall goodness, cider and donuts, and yeah. Until then, see you guys. Bye.